Greetings, friends. Tonight we're going to be having a look at Tamara Demko's fantastic interview with General Isom, which took place less than 24 hours after Professor Markel, Dan Markel, was pronounced dead. It took place on the 19th of July, around 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And with that in mind, it is incredible how much she has been able to put together in that short amount of time, on top of the insane shock and horror of what has happened to her longtime friend, her university colleague, Professor Markel. He's been brutally murdered in his driveway. How often does that happen? Not very much, right? Now, we had a bit of a panic earlier when we were preparing for this stream, guys, because we have actually covered the interview before, way back when we first started this channel. Let's have a look. And at that time, if we come down here to our channel page, where we have all of our fantastic Adelson content, other content, and we go all the way back to, when was it? January? February? Where is the video? Yeah, here it is. So that was the first time we did it. And at that time, we used the video from Mentor Lawyer, who had the full series available on his channel. But since then, for some reason, Mentor Lawyer, the videos aren't available on your channel, only part 4. But I did manage to find another video on his channel called, what is it called? It's called The 2 Most Insightful Witnesses During the Dan Markel Murder Investigation, which is sort of a mashup video between Jeff Lacasse, of course, which we covered, when was it? Yesterday? We did a 2-part special. Anyone want to check that out? There it is right there on our channel page, part 1 and 2. Yeah, so, but Mentor Lawyer did a mashup where there's a large chunk of the Tamara Demko interview, and he's also still got part 4 of 6. So we're going to be working through those because there's no other available resource I've found online that's got the actual full series. So I'm hoping that it's in chronological order. I think it is. I've just had a quick run through and we'll do the best we can. Yeah. So let's start sharing that right now. Welcome everybody in the chat. Good to see so many of you already. You guys have been busy in Discord today. Anyone who's not joined the Discord already, guys, it's free. There's a huge community of loads of people having fun about true crime metrics, material, and other things. That's the beauty of it. We heard from our good friend, was it Amy, today, who posted some walk-around photographs that she took of the Icon building, of the location of the bump that happened way back in 2016. And it was great to see. Even some baby photos of Wendi Adelson that I had never seen before. That was fantastic. So yeah, a lot of good stuff happens there, guys. Anyway, moving on to part 1 of our content on this video. Let's see what happens.
The law school, you met Danny.
Now let's get an audio check in early today, guys, because there were a couple of complaints that happened in the audio yesterday. It's a little bit trebly, a little bit tinny, but remember, we are watching an interrogation room in Tallahassee where they probably have a tin can as a microphone, right? Just kidding.
At Harvard Law School, you were elected to posts for leadership purposes, and you've kept in touch with him throughout this time.
Yes.
All right, I'll let you, just want to make sure I'm up to speed on where we're at.
Just a little bit further on that introduction, guys. What is fantastically wonderful about Tamara Demko's interview is the nature of which she is expressing the dynamite bombshells that she comes up with. She's got a huge amount of insight on the background of Wen and Dandy's Wen and Dandy. What's his name? Wen. Yeah, she tells us all about Wen and Dandy's relationship. Oh my god. Way back from before they were married, you know, going all the way back to then. So she's got really valuable insights to their relationship, and especially to the ugliness of their divorce proceedings, right? And she's doing that on top of all the shock and losing a very dear friend. From her expression, I'm sure you will agree that she seems deeply connected with Professor Markel and very upset, but obviously has a sense of duty to bring anything she can to the police without delay to help them catch the killer, right? So it's a really incredible interview, guys. If you haven't already seen it, if you want to see the originals without me talking over them, link in the description to Mentor Lawyer's channel and to these two videos that we're going to be watching on his channel as well. All the links are there.
That you have been in Tallahassee, what did you say, 12 years?
7.
7, I'm sorry. And did you go to their wedding?
No, I did not.
Okay.
I was hanging out with them up here before the wedding, but I didn't actually go to the wedding.
Oh, the wedding wasn't here? Okay. Go ahead, feel free.
Yeah, the wedding wasn't in Tallahassee. Do you think Wendi Adelson's going to get married in Tallahassee? It was in Boca Raton, okay? Where else?
Danny, so Wendi was going through this process. And the time before she left him, she finished writing her book. And I noticed.
Hey, thanks so much for the super chat, Bob from accounting. Nice and early. Very, very much appreciated, Bob. You're setting a great example for everyone else.
When she gave me a copy of the book before she left him, that she didn't put that she was married. She like listed her kids, but she didn't. And I kind of was like, interesting.
She didn't list Danny?
No, not to my recollection. There was something that stood out about her dedication to me, or like the author lives here with her 2 sons.
Okay.
And so that was a little odd. But again, this was a few years ago at this point. It was 2012. So 2012, I'd started a doctoral program at UNC Chapel Hill, and I was traveling with the class to London, and I happened to fly back through Toronto. And since Danny's family has a place in Toronto, Wendi had sent out a birthday invitation to all of Danny's friends and said, hey, for Danny's 40th, can you all make a video? You know, take a picture of yourself doing something, wishing Danny happy birthday. And she sent this out months earlier, like everything was fine between them. So I took a little video of myself in Toronto, and that never happened. The party never happened. Right around his birthday, she called me up, and I knew Danny was traveling, and she said, I have left him, and she moved everything out of the house, and she left him. What I didn't know at the time is that she hadn't told him where she was going, and she kept this from him for a couple of weeks. Like, he was going crazy. He was heartbroken. I was trying to be friendly with her. I didn't know what to think about what she'd said, that he was kind of being psychologically abusive. You know, he's older than she is, so I think she felt that as a power play based on what she'd said to me. And I was in a position where I felt inclined to try to believe her. So she went and she got her place on Aqua Ridge, and I went and visited her just to see if she's okay. Took my boys over there, see her settle in. Not knowing that she was keeping the location at the time.
Not knowing what?
That she had been keeping the location from Danny
Okay,
at the time.
okay.
she didn't handle it well at all. Like it was probably the nastiest divorce I've ever seen. It was nasty.
The nastiest divorce she'd ever seen. I'm inclined to believe that. Can anyone else think of a worse divorce? Even Johnny Depp and Amber, they got nothing on this, right?
Danny went into this deep depression, and we spent a lot of time. Eventually, I talked to him. He told me, he's like, I don't understand. I'll be better. I'll be a better husband. I won't nag her so much about cooking or cleaning, and he just kept beating himself up about it for a long time. We had a lot of very personal, intimate discussions over the course of a year, I guess.
You and Danny.
And Danny.
Yeah, big mistake, Professor Markel. And Adelson doesn't clean and cook. They have people. They all have people. They have the paella chef and the maid and their corrupt legal accountants. They have people.
Yeah. And I was talking to Wendi, but Danny kept claiming that Wendi was a little unstable and that she was very flaky. And I was kind of but she ended up being like that, in that she would make plans and she'd cancel them suddenly, or she'd forget about them, and she'd do that with friends as well. But it became a hard line. They would call it, you're either Team Danny or Team Wendi. Yeah. And they would actively refer to this. Danny
people that are associated with all.
And Danny himself and Wendi herself. They would say Team Danny, Team Wendi. It was kind of unnerving, actually. And I was like, I don't want to pick a team. I've become friends with her too. But he was a wreck.
Just to say, guys, we've been so busy in the chat the last, recently and forever. If anyone really wants me to answer something, put the big red question mark emoji next to the your message, because I like to show them all on the screen. But if I really focus and read them all, I forget to talk about what's on the screen. So if anything's for me, you're free to chat amongst yourselves, of course, knock it all out there. But if anyone wants to say something to me, big red question mark.
And she didn't want to live in Tallahassee. She hated being here. She was a more of a DC girl or Miami, and I found out over time that she actually...
What, not Lincoln, Nebraska? Wendi is moving to Lincoln, Nebraska.
Grew up several blocks over from me in Coral Springs, which is where I moved to when I was 12. She was a few years younger, so I never really met her in high school or anything like that. But her parents still lived there at the time. I think they've since relocated, I don't know. But I went and met her family there. When they were married, I saw them both there when they were first having their babies and such. And so I'd go and visit them, whether it was here or whether it was down there. When she left, it was a family effort. Like, parents came up, helped her move, helped conceal everything, get that going.
Yeah, it was definitely a family effort, wasn't it? The moving, the plotting, the hiring of the killers, big family effort,
Danny was like beside himself. When she didn't want to move, when she wanted to move, he tried to make it so that she couldn't. And this began a really ugly portion of the legal battle.
Move where?
She wanted to move back to South Florida to be closer to her parents.
After the divorce?
Yes.
Okay.
And he said, I love my kids too much. No way, no, I'm going to fight you. And he was able to get an injunction so she couldn't move.
And of course, if you can't find the big red question mark, we definitely read out all donation comments. Okay. So if you want to send a super chat, feel free. but you don't have to. You can also just like the video and subscribe to the channel.
So she was stuck here. She was also under consideration for a professor track at FSU College of Law. And starting at some point, I don't even remember when, it's been 3 years or so, I guest lecture for her in her class every semester. I just did a few weeks ago, which I'll come back to. Please remind me to come back to that because she said some things to me.
I'm still trying to put together a pattern of Wendi Adelson's working life. You know, the day of the murder, she's like, oh, I was at home on working papers, when surely going to work into the office would have been a better alibi than a TV repairman that could arrive at it, you know, within a window of time. We'll be there between 9 and 1. How is that a good alibi? That is an unreliable. Just go to the office. Why don't you ever go into work? And then you're going out to lunch in the middle of the day, drinking, I would guess. And she's got Tamara guest lecturing for her, of course. I bet she had a lot of people do that for her, right?
The legal battle was very ugly. She felt trapped. I started trying to not talk to both of them about the legal stuff because I felt kind of caught in the middle. And she thought there's no way they can force me to stay here. And he's like, there's no way I'm not going to have access to my kids. She was getting a hefty sum of money from him. There were some things that he was, even last month, was upset about. She had his uncle's ring, something along those lines, that she had taken, and it was like a family heirloom that she wouldn't give back. And she had taken whatever she wanted out of the house at the time.
So he was out of town. Is that what I understood?
So he had to refurnish, and he's like, I spent $10,000 refurnishing this place, and it was a big adjustment, and he didn't know.
She took $10,000 worth of stuff, and they probably had more expensive stuff than what he replaced it with, perhaps, because she's the one that's all about the glamour, right? So call it 20,000. Yeah, I'm taking all of the sitting room chairs, so you can sit on the floor. Every TV, we have to have every TV. We love TVs. You know, the dining table, so you can eat over the sink.
Know what he had done wrong.
What a bitch.
Having talked to Wendi, there was nothing he could do right. And she just didn't love him.
Okay.
And it was not something I could say to him. Over time, I've tried to get there, but she just didn't love him that way. And I think she was young, and he was a scholar and the type of guy that her parents would want. And I think she even knew as she was getting married that it wasn't right.
That's what you referred to earlier about her having cold feet.
Yes, she had cold feet. We went for a walk within a month before our wedding, and we went to Maclay and walked around. And she's just like, I don't know if I can marry him. And I was like, well, if you don't know, then you shouldn't. And still did. So I think the kids kept them occupied for a little while. But
well, at the same time, I think that they were married in 2006, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Sounds right.
And they didn't have children right away.
No. She had been July 2009. And then Lincoln came a couple years after. So more recently, he had dated a couple people here and there. He was just trying to get his legs under him again. He would often go to Maya and Alex Greenberg's house. They were sort of his surrogate family to get him through this time. And I'd pop over and we'd have drinks and talk, and we'd have these long discussions about lots of different.
Hey, thank you so much, Marcy, for your super chat. donation and wonderful comment. Thank you for the amazing channel, all your great commentary, Mr. Metrics, and you stay funny. Well, thank you so much, Marcy. And also, C. Malone, thank you for the super sticker.
Different things.
Are they attorneys also?
No, they said today that they weren't. Maya is a dentist. I don't know what Alex does.
Okay.
But I had met them over the course of time.
In Georgia?
They were in Georgia, but I met them in Tallahassee.
Okay.
And I met them at some Jewish thingy. But I often would meet him at Jewish festivals and things like that. We get our kids together at the park just down the street from his house. And we'd often go to dinner, just talk. He started dating Amy, and we'd still go out. And he always, you know, he'd be like flirting with her and talking to me, and then he'd try to tease her, and he'd turn around and he'd be like, "Hey, FaceTime," and he'd show me, you know, Amy on FaceTime. And Wendi was just kind of absent. I don't know if she figured I became Team Danny in her mind, but she still would call me up just randomly and say,
Thank you, KLK, for the super sticker. Wonderful stuff.
"Hey, can you guest lecture for me now?" And sure.
Yeah, Wendi was really absent until she needed someone to guest lecture, right? And you know exactly how Wendi got people to guest lecture. She'd be like, make them feel really special and appreciated and like they were worth something to her. You know, not just because they're providing a service, but you know, that fake, you're such a good friend, helping me through my bitter divorce. You understand because you're a woman. Can you guest lecture my whole semester?
She had gotten kind of flaky. And over time, I think Danny was able to tell people.
Really handy for all that cheating as well, huh? You know, as far as Jeff's concerned, or Danny, yeah, another big lecture. Huge lecture today. Yep. We're in there from 9 until 6. Lectures all day. And she's just got a guest lecture, right? As far as anyone looking at her calendar, where's Wendi? Well, she's lecturing. Yeah, she's lecturing. She's lecturing all over a mahogany desk.
In a way that they started seeing that she was acting inconsistent. And so I think she felt that. Recently.
Oh, look, folks, she's run a marathon. Or is it just a 10K? Number 2. Well, that's no good. Who got number 1? Wendi 1. That should be her license plate, right?
They kept changing attorneys over and over and over again. And I'll at some point pull up a list because we had a conversation that's still on my Facebook messages about attorneys because I was looking for one. I have since worked things out with my ex, but just verbally. But at the time I was looking for one. So he was telling me who was good and who he had, but they were constantly switching. So he was blocking the attorneys that she had. She was blocking the attorneys that he had because there was some conflict of interest. And it was spiraling to the point where it was like, was there anyone that could represent either of them in town?
Okay, you mean post-divorce litigation?
Post-divorce litigation, even a couple of months ago. So he took me out for my birthday last
month. Okay, a little pause here just to show those who don't know the Discord, right? So I don't even really know what it was. Someone told me, hey, you got a YouTube channel? You should get Discord. So I was like, okay, what the hell is Discord? And then I came here and it's just like a chat room, basically. We can have different text channels for different topics and everyone comes in and we give updates about the content that's coming out. We can ask questions, we can have discussions, we can share content, we can show pictures, and yeah, it's just a growing community and it's 24/7, guys. And because we're a global community, where everyone's up at different time in their time zones, you know, the fun never ends. Look at these pictures of baby Wendi, for example. How about that, huh? The cold eyes of a killer. The cold, dead eyes of a killer. Man, what the hell is going on with this kid? Is that a happy-looking kid or a psycho in the making? Yeah, so in the description for the video, all our videos, guys, there's a link under True Crime Metrics social networks where it says Discord, and there's a link, and that's how you join. So anyone who wants to do that can do that for free. Now, back to business.
You know, he told me that birthday was like, was there anyone that could represent either of them in town?
Okay, you mean post-divorce litigation?
Post-divorce litigation, even a couple of months ago. So he took me out for my birthday last month. My birthday is June 3rd. He took me out June 4th. We went out for Thai food. And, you know, he told me that he was really infatuated with Amy, and that, you know, he's the only dad I've ever met who would go to his kids' preschool daily just to have snack with them. I mean, he loved them that much. But he was telling me that it was getting really ugly again, and that he was going to kind of go to the mattresses with her. And there was a bunch of weird, there's just things that don't feel right to me. And that's why I'm really glad that you have me come in today.
We're all glad that you've come in today, Tamara. Okay, we're over the moon that you came in. She gave detectives such subjects and situations to consider that really helped them connect the dots and see the big picture, see through the veil of distortion and start to put it together. Really, I don't think the case would have been, it certainly wouldn't have been solved in the same way. Really helps the case a lot, as well as Jeff.
So after my birthday, we still talked on the phone, I believe, but I didn't physically see him afterward, I don't think. Wendi, I guest lectured for after my birthday, so after that.
That is the third or fourth time, and we're only a few minutes in to her conversation where she's mentioned guest lecturing for Wendi. Are we developing a pattern? I think we are.
And I talked to her, and she told me that she was dating someone. And I said, oh, and I thought it was new. It wasn't new. She'd been dating this guy since September. Social worker. He was a professor in social work at FSU. And she was all excited about him. And, you know, he wants to get serious, and she's not sure, but she really likes him, and everything's good. And maybe we should double date sometime, because I had started dating someone in the interim. So, you know, Danny and I were both talking to different people we were dating, like, oh, you know, we'll see how it works out. But he wanted to.
Subscriber gives us a red question mark. Is Tamara a witness? Well, she hasn't been yet. But I was maybe going to put a poll in the chat today, folks, to see whether we think she's going to be a valuable witness. I think there's a couple of things that she says, we'll get to that in a little bit, where she could be a valuable witness in Donna Adelson's trial. I think she definitely will be called for Wendy's, whenever that is. That's a no-brainer. But will we see her in Donna's trial? Maybe, maybe not. I don't think I've seen her on any proposed witness lists yet, but we've still got a little way to go.
to get a movie afterwards. I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't. I'll do it next time. Summer next time. So he had started consulting, and I didn't know much about what he was doing. He was kind of excited about it. I knew he wasn't the lead, and I don't think he felt it was dangerous. When I found out, and I guess this is going backwards so I can understand my thought process.
Hey, Neverly, sorry, I'm a little bit behind in the chat here. Neverly says, can you put up a working Discord link, pretty please? A few peeps would like to join. Is it not working? Hang on, guys. One second. Ah, man. Okay, need to update that. One sec. Time out. Talk amongst yourselves. And like the channel. Great opportunity to go and leave a like on the channel. That's a great free way to support the channel and bring more people in. Because if we like the video while it's being streamed, guess what? YouTube loves that, and more people come in. How do we get the link? Okay. Got it. Well spotted, Neverly. One of our most vigilant viewers, folks. Okay, so that Discord link is updated in the description. I've just tested it, and I'll also put it in the chat right here. There, done. How easy was that?
This is on it too, because it's more instinctive right now, and that's bothering me. I found out, I was at work at Text Watch when this happened. I had no idea it happened. It pains me that I was like down the road when this happened. I found it because a law school classmate sent me an email and said, I just saw, oh my God, are you okay? Because my entire class knows that we're close. They knew we were close. And that's how I found out. And I was not doing well with it. And I got upset for the first hour. I called John Beeman and said, what the hell happened? You know, he couldn't tell me much, but
she was not doing well with it. This is less than 24 hours ago from when she's sitting in this room, guys. You can see the timestamp on the video, July 19th. It's 4:26 in the afternoon.
there was this suggestion.
He died on the 19th. I think it was just past midnight, right? So 16 hours ago. Okay, she would have known yesterday that he'd been shot, but it's crazy. She's pulled it together pretty quick. I mean, you can tell she's still upset and in shock, but she's here giving information in a very clear way. I'd be up the wall. I'd be going out of my mind. I wouldn't be able to come in and talk to the police.
That maybe it was a known entity. And before we even got to him saying that, I was thinking about the relationship with Wendi, and it just didn't feel good. Did not feel good. And got off the phone with him, and I found Amy's number, and I talked to Amy for a long time. And I talked to his other friends, Maya and Alex.
Hey, Wendi, do you want to know what a genuine smile looks like? Look at the smile. on the face that Dan, on the woman that Dan was with after you? Kind of friendly, non-predatory. Yeah, that's a smile, Wendi. I don't care how big your fucking teeth are.
And then I felt like, and so Amy said to me,
just to say that last comment was directed at Wendi, not Amy.
If someone intentionally killed Danny, if I go down there, what if they try to hurt me? Because she was feeling like something was off too. And I said, well, I have a concealed carry. I'll take it with me. Just come. You can stay at my place. I'll pick you up. So I got off the phone with her and I realized I didn't have my clip. I haven't found my clip for like 2 months. I have no idea where it went. Yeah. So I went to Kevin's and it was like, I have like a cheap Kel-Tec 9 and like a knob. I only got it after the other stuff. So I went to Kevin's. They didn't have those clips. They're going to order them for me. But I ended up buying one yesterday. I bought it for you yesterday. And I went and just I'm like, okay, I get that for tomorrow in case she needs protection or whatever. And at that point, I couldn't help myself. I'm like, I have noon. And I drove straight to Wendy's. At that point, I couldn't help myself. I'm like, I have noon. And I drove straight to Wendy's. And when I got there, it didn't make me feel better. And I hate saying it, but I do because I feel disloyal somehow. But I got there, she had her friend Janine, who I hadn't really heard about before, and Janine's husband, I guess. I can't remember his name, something short and interesting. But she opened the door and she looked fairly calm and she hugged me. I didn't say a word. And she just said, I'm so sorry to me because she knows how close we were. And then it was odd because it felt like Janine was playing bodyguard and being very, and like, who is this Janine person? Her mom came out. I hugged her mom. The boys were running around like nothing was going wrong. And I was so glad. I just had to see them. Like I wanted to be near some part of Danny. And I asked the mom, how did you find out? She said, we're in Miami. Wendi called from the police station. We drove all night. And she seemed appropriately like upset. Then her dad, who I've met half a dozen times, Coral Springs, up here, he gave me this look, and I don't know what my facial reaction was to it, but I'm almost positive it was one of suspicion and anger because he can't even look me in the face today.
That's when you know your subconscious is working well, huh, guys? She didn't even know why she gave him a look of suspicion and anger. I would have loved to see that expression on her face. Because Harvey's probably hiding behind the piano, keeping really distant. Donna's all front and center, appropriately upset. Oh, horrible. It was horrible. We drove all night. They didn't drive all night. They drove to Gainesville and stayed the night there, didn't they? I think. I don't know. Yeah, Donna's doing the, yeah, you're a good actress. I've seen you in action. Well, mother like daughter. And Harvey's always kind of much more in the background. From everything we've seen of all of these Adelson people, he's always much more in the background. Could it be that it's just because, he's like the thinker, not the player, not the actor. That's Donna's job. And he just gave it away. Just couldn't pull it off. I've heard people say, oh, maybe he was having a battle of conscience. I don't think so. I think he just felt like we're going to get found out. And if you think that, You have to believe, you have to really believe that you're going to fool people with something heavy like this. And if you just don't have the confidence, if you've got that worry, it shows. And someone with a high emotional intelligence like Tamara Demko, they pick up on that. So be aware, friends.
And it was awkward. And it never had been.
Sorry. Subscriber, will I be at the trial? I don't think I'm going to make it for Donna's trial, unfortunately. This whole football season in Tallahassee kind of undermined the confidence. You know, I mean, I'd be perfectly happy to sleep in a hire car. You know, it wouldn't be the first time. But for coming into the States through the immigration control, you know, it's basically essential that you've got a hotel booked. And I think the prices are going to be high and everywhere's going to be full. And, you know, it's just this football season thing kind of made me think, okay, maybe let's not rush this. But it's certainly my intention to come over to see Wendi.
And before. That really bothered me.
Was it common for him to look you in the face? I mean, some
Oh,
people
yeah.
don't do it.
No, not like an Asperger's kid. No, he was, yeah, absolutely. You know, at least when someone's talking internally, you're listening, looking. No, it was odd.
He recognized you. There
Of
wasn't a
course,
question
he's
of
like,
that.
TJ, hey. Yeah.
But he would not look you in the eye.
He started off fine. And then when we locked eyes, it was like something transpired that didn't sit well with either one of us, I guess. And then today he would not even look at me. I found that to be very unsettling.
And this would be Wendy's father.
Yes.
Harvey?
Mm-hmm. Harvey.
Oh, quick wit Isom over here. Keep up, man. And that's Wendy's dad. Yes. I just told you. What is going on with this guy sometimes? Honestly. You know, people have been saying when he's doing those kind of drop the ball things with Wendi, yes, but maybe he just wanted to look foolish so that Wendi wouldn't lawyer up. Well, what's his excuse this time? He did the same thing with Jeff yesterday.
Charlie was supposed to come up, her younger brother, but he didn't.
Just to say, I don't really have any slights or anything against Isom. I like him, and I think he's actually pretty good in the end. But you have to comment on these things. And this is Wendy's dad. Yes. What's wrong with you, man? He's like, which murder are we talking about right now? Oh, keep up, man.
That was also strange because she was positive he was coming and then he wasn't. I drove then to his house, to Danny's house, and sat outside and prayed.
From Wendy's?
From Wendy's.
And this was yesterday?
This was yesterday.
Okay.
And just sat there and prayed and said, from here, nothing looks different. It looks like he'll be home any moment. And then went to church and prayed for an hour, ran into my priest, talked to him for another hour, and I haven't slept since. So,
good to see you, Clarissa. One of our new members on YouTube, guys. Getting that status, getting that glory status. Welcome.
I didn't know where he had been shot until this morning. It was extremely hard to hear.
Who told you?
Maya.
What'd she tell you?
Who's Maya? Anyone know who Maya is?
She said that he was shot in the face and that the only thing visible was his chin and that his brain was mostly gone. And then there were all sorts of rumors swirling.
But that's not true. I mean, I don't know where that's coming from. That's not completely accurate.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Let's just hear that again, guys.
This is Jen and not Maya.
What'd she tell you?
She said that he was shot in the face and that the only thing visible was his chin and that his brain was mostly gone. And then there were all sorts of rumors swirling.
But that's not true.
Man, that'd be, thanks, Maya. Thanks for creating that image in my mind with your false information that is basically the only thing left was his chin. Is that what she said? So his entire head was gone? Man, she must have thought he got shot with a 12 gauge. Just blew his head clean off, like being punched by a bear, you know? Decapitated.
I mean, I don't know where that's coming from. That's not completely accurate.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I mean,
no, just.
But I don't know. I can't correct that. What has been already told to you.
Yes, Running Bird. Everyone has a crush on Tamara Demko, but we have to remember that she's not an object, and we have the utmost respect for her for what she did in this case and her clear, well-defined moral guidelines as a human being on this earth. And she's also really nice looking.
Specifically, but unfortunately, these things get all blown out of proportion.
Yeah. Let me continue talking
Yeah,
until you feel like
I'm
we're
sorry.
done. Like,
I'm
you
sorry.
can tell me what you're able to tell me,
Go ahead.
and I would love to hear it. I don't think that any one of them physically pulled the trigger. I think it is extremely odd that Janine all of a sudden is tagging on. I found it extremely odd that Wendy's boyfriend that she was so excited about a few weeks ago was not there. When I was leaving, I said, well, where's your new guy? Shouldn't he be here to comfort you? And she's like, there's no new guy. And I was like, that's interesting timing. There's just a lot of interesting timings that don't feel right here. And I don't, and
yeah, isn't it? A lot of interesting timings. Donna and Harvey coming up. I mean, and then, you know, the timing of when he was shot just before leaving town, really interesting timing. And then, where's your new guy? Oh, there is no new guy. Not anymore. Not since he murdered the father of my kids. That maniac Lacasse.
Wendy's gone through a lot. She's gone through a lot with this. So it could just be that she's grieving, and I hope that that's the case. But I wouldn't put it past her father or even her brother to do something that she might not even be aware of.
You talking about this Charlie?
Charlie, maybe. Charlie really cares about her and hated Danny for stuff. But her dad, I mean, there was.
Hey, Nancy Lee, it's been a while. Where you been? Good to see you again.
There was a lot of animosity. I don't know whether she told them that he had been abusive or what. I don't know. But I hope that's not the case. I just, everything I've heard does not feel random at all to me. And it feels incredibly.
Hey, only 47 likes, guys. Come on, guys, you can do better than that. We've got almost 80 people in the stream. Let's break it to 100. I think Tamara Demko is going to draw them in, because it's a great interview, right? Let's go and click like on that video right now, guys. How about it?
Intentional, based on talking to Amy. She talked to him the night before, and he usually sleeps in bed with the kids. And there were nights when I would go over and we'd sing lullabies to the kids to put them to sleep. And he dropped them off at Creative. And Amy figured he was coming or going from the gym because that was the routine. But it sounds like someone knew the routine.
Going from the creative preschool to the gym to home?
I don't know which order that was. I don't know.
He had the kids the night before?
He had the kids the night before, according to Amy.
Okay.
And the last time they texted was something like 12:30. One of them said that they were going to be, tired, going to sleep. I think she said she was tired, she was going to sleep. And they didn't, they didn't talk that morning.
Okay.
And then she couldn't get a hold of him for the rest of the day, obviously. He was finally feeling happy again. He was feeling hopeful. Things with his kids were great. Wendi was this huge elephant in his life room. I mean, it was consuming. Not that he was obsessed about it, it just he wanted it to end. And it just seemed like it was never going to end.
I bet he just wanted it to end, reasonably and as amicably as possible. Just want it to end and move on. I'm done. Yeah, I've realized that I don't really like you and I want you to go, but don't take the kids and all my stuff and my Holocaust diamond, please.
The latest claim was that she had concealed $500,000 in assets, on top of having the family heirloom and other things that he thought were unreasonable. And he had claimed to Maya and to Alex, apparently, that there was something that big that he was going to drop a bomb on her in the next week. A legal bomb that would discredit her statements, particularly with regard to financial matters. Again, the timing of all of it doesn't sit well with me. I have been trying to gauge Wendi's family's reactions to things because I've been around them, and even when she first left him, I mean, I went over to her house. Her parents were staying there. I had a drink with her mom. Like I've seen them and how they react to things, and something feels off. And it could just be, I hope it is, because I don't want Ben and Lincoln to grow up, really orphaned. And if it does have to do with that family, I hope Wendi.
Well, we better let her off then, because their dad's dead. And if we arrest Wendi for his murder, then it'll be sad for the kids. No, it doesn't work like that. They're better off orphaned than having Wendi as a mother. I 100% stand by that. More than 100%. All the percent.
He had nothing to do with it and is triply devastated that something was related. But I don't know. I don't know about the consulting. Maybe there was some risk, but my understanding was that he was not lead, which shouldn't have made him a target like that. It was fairly recent.
Yeah, this is the spin-off version to the movie, guys. These no-nonsense Hasidic Jews driving down from New York to Tallahassee with a message to send. Oh, yeah.
It seems like it would take some time for someone to establish his patterns.
In case anyone didn't know, that was in reference to the consulting that she just mentioned.
It just seems known. The outpouring of messages I've gotten from his students, from my classmates, from my friends, is all past and present. He was a great criminal professor. Students liked him. I don't think it was some strung out student who didn't like their grade. That doesn't feel right to me either. If it was some weird tangential thing related to consulting, I suppose that's from the possibility, but that still doesn't feel quite right. It just feels very personal. It feels very personal. And
huge perception, huh? How does she have that sense so readily? I don't even think it's because of any processing she's done. How much processing could she have done when her mind is racing with grief, shock? These are some of the hardest emotions to do clear thinking when you're experiencing them, right? Grief, shock, What else is she feeling? Probably anger without knowing why. It's her subconscious is screaming at her. She probably felt the same thing that Jeff Lacasse felt, this date, this drum beat, this marching towards this thing. Something is gonna happen. Maybe she didn't tune into it consciously as Jeff Lacasse did in the run-up, but now that sense is coming together and it's screaming at her, this is personal. Strung out student with a bad grade, don't buy it. No nonsense rabbis coming down to send a message, don't buy it. It's personal. It's Wendi.
I want to give benefit of the doubt, but on some gut level, I have this anger that's there. And he didn't deserve this. But now there was never, it wasn't just that she was treating him poorly, like in a typical situation. There's strangeness about it, either because she was changing stories or she was being incredibly evasive. And it really bothered him.
That photograph of Wendi there is so photoshopped. That's airbrushed. It might as well be a painting. It's so fake. She doesn't look like that.
But I tried to not let it bother
And
my friendship with
even though she doesn't look like that, she still doesn't look good to me in that picture. You can't put shit back on the donkey.
her and tried to keep them separated, which is not many of their friends did that. People were like Team Danny or Team Wendi. I tried to straddle both. I was probably the only person who was able to straddle both. And it would break my heart. But it's actually already broken, so I guess I can't fall too much further. He was going to give a presentation at Rutgers. He was supposed to fly in last night to New York, so they're having a memorial for him there. And I'm so full of memories. I'm just in utter disbelief. I'm almost positive at some point we discussed him having a will. I don't know when in this time frame it was at all. But I feel like he has one. No idea where. He was willing to pacify Wendi for a long time. He wanted to get back together with her. He offered, I'll change, we'll get back together, the important things of the family. She wouldn't have it. And so every time it was the type of thing where if he was going to have an extended period of time away, he would give her right of first refusal. She never returned the favor. But it was only for a little night, and she's like, okay, well, and she would generally not accept. But she absolutely would never return the favor, even if it meant people coming from South Florida to come and watch the kids. That really bothered him. But the dance that they did was very painful to everyone around them because it was just nasty. And even on days when she had them, he would go to the preschool just so he could see them and spend time with them. He referred himself as Abba in Jewish tradition, and he really wanted them to be raised Orthodox. And this was a huge bone of contention between the two of them. They agreed on it when they got married. And then over time, she made it fairly clear that she was not into that. So for the first year after the kids were born, first year or two, they did the ritual, they sang songs, they were teaching them the songs, everything seemed good. And then she just didn't want to go to temple with him and sort of declined. And then they were actively fighting post-divorce as to what the upbringing would be. And she didn't want them growing up in some kind of orthodox way. Absolutely not. And she knew that was his heart.
Did not want them being brought up in an orthodox way. What did I say yesterday, guys, in the Jeff Lacasse part 2 on our channel page, where it was all about, Wendi doesn't want her kids wearing, what was it? We learned a new word, yarmulkes, or not being able to eat pepperoni pizza or cheeseburgers when they're going to the birthday party of these other spoilt children in the Miami Icon, and yeah, this was a real big thing of, okay, this ain't gonna be, we're not going to be doing this Dan Markel thing anymore, and we're not even going to let him have influence on how the children are raised. That's not happening. That's probably a 27% stake in the motive. We're going to be building a pie chart soon, guys, because there's an unbelievable amount of different motivations for each party involved. Everyone's got their own pie chart. Okay, Charlie, Donna, Wendi, Harvey, and then a collective pie chart, right? Where are we going to publish that? Well, we're probably going to publish it on one of our fantastic social networks that are all linked in the description for this video, along with links to buymeacoffee.com, where you can buy us a coffee.com. Or if you would like to support the channel, you can leave a super chat, a super thanks, a super sticker, a super like. And what else are we doing? Yeah, we're just about to be releasing memberships on Patreon. We're expecting that to blow up, but Discord is fantastic. Everything's in the description, guys. All that great stuff. Plus, everyone should leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel, because we just keep putting out the content, right? Look at all that content. Are you telling me that you don't want to have a look through that? It's just endless content. So much. And so colorful. Chris Watts. Lots of Adelson content. Sarah Boone. Look, there's a 4-part series on Wendi's interrogation. Charlie on the stand. Just goes on. Grant Amato. Fantastic crime to cover. Chandler Halderson. Another good one. Ooh, Wendi on the stand, full series with commentary. Direct examinations, cross-examinations, rebuttals. And through all the separate years, that's 2019, 2022, and 2023, from 3 trials so far. And guess what, folks? You know what we're going to be covering in September, remotely, unfortunately, is Donna Adelson's trial. And then what's happening in October? Sarah Boone's trial, which we're also going to be covering from start to finish, every last drop. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the video, support the channel on buymeacoffee.com, super chat, super like, super thanks, super sticker, YouTube memberships, Patreon memberships, fantastic ways to support the channel.
So there was never going to be peace about that. Everyone knows, and I've heard people in town write me when I haven't even commented to them, saying, I just heard this is domestic. Have you heard anything? And I'm like, I'm not discussing this. But it's Wendi has all clear. She can move wherever she wants, all that kind of stuff. I don't think she would hurt her children that way. I want to believe that. I could see her getting overwhelmed enough with the situation to complain to someone who would want to make it go away. And I also feel it's weird that her social worker boyfriend, poof, so suddenly after just bragging about him so recently.
When was that? What was the latest time that she was talking about you?
Let me figure out when I guest lectured. I had dinner with Danny on the 4th.
I'm half expecting General Isom to say, and this boyfriend, what's his name? Like, hasn't even clocked on that we're talking about Jeff Lacasse. But no, I think he's got that one down. We can give him that.
I guest lectured on June 17th.
That's the one that you wanted to refer to there, that you were asking me to remind you about.
Yes. So she was
Pesci for Rashbaum. Are you guys nuts? That's a terrible idea. I like Joe Pesci. And he's good. He's good as Vinny. He gets the job done. No. We can come up with something better than that. Something that makes sense.
bragging about him. She really.
Oh, hang on. We've got a big red question mark. 4 red question marks from C. Malone. Metrics. How do you join as a member? Where is the link? I can't find it anywhere. I know Neverly is having problems. Neverly became a member today, C. Malone, on buymeacoffee.com. So let's see if we can show you where that is. Just real quickly, folks. Sorry, I know this is extended. This is an extended plug. So here's the video that we're watching now. There's all your chats. There's your message, C. Malone, see? And you go to the description for the video. And you click on buymeacoffee.com. And you go to site. And then you can either buy us a cup of coffee or as many as you like. And you can also click memberships up here and select which membership category you would like to become a member of. We'll have the same thing on Patreon in a day or two. I'm just waiting for them to confirm my new link. YouTube memberships, I can't show you that right now because I'm logged in as me. But we will be releasing a video soon showing how to do that on YouTube for you guys. If you want, you don't have to. All the streams are free, but there are extra benefits to becoming a member, which we're getting more and more, guys. The memberships are rolling in at the moment. So yeah, what else is in the description for the video? There's the social networks where we do some updates. There's Discord where there's a big community growing. Does anyone want to see Discord again? Yeah, this is the Discord server. Oh shit. I'll show you this one. Yeah, this is the Discord server. Okay. I gotta log in. I'm not gonna do that right now, but we did show it earlier in the video. Yeah, more on that coming, guys. Or if you just want to help support the channel, there's all the stuff in the on the chat box. You know, there's super sticker, super chat, super like, super thanks. All great ways and very much appreciated. You know, sorry for the plug. Sorry for the extended plug. Okay. But we got asked a question by one of our favorite viewers, C. Malone. Hey, Neety, thanks so much for a super sticker. You lovely viewer. You're much more than a lovely viewer.
Really liked him, and she sent me messages. Messages are going so far back at this point. Let me pull it up.
When you're guest lecturing, she's not there.
We talked before.
Okay.
There's Danny's message.
Thank you so much, Riding. Really appreciate it, Riding. And I'll get that update to you that we discussed on Discord sometime next week. It's all coming, guys. Just gotta bear with us here. We're holding up the walls. We're holding up the walls.
Sorry, it's on the 17th. There it is.
Well, this is you. What time is the class in the morning? And then after that, you said 10 to 12:30 or earlier. The blue is you.
Yes, the blue is me.
Okay. And then June 17th, at 8:50 a.m. 10, please. I have to run today after class, but can we set up a date so I can thank you and take you to lunch, please?
Okay. Anyone new to the stream? How we do it here to get messages to me is red question mark emojis, like rabbits just down here, you see? Second posting, metrics. If Tamara said all this on the 19th of July, wasn't Lacasse there after that? Yeah, he was, but Wendi has already spoken about Lacasse the day prior. So what the heck was Isom thinking when Lacasse showed up? Isom disregarded Demko's statements. Well, I didn't really feel that Jeff Lacasse was under suspicion at all. And in fact, they may have communicated with him by phone already, and he may have been able to provide an update already about his card being used in a Kmart in Georgia and stuff like that. So what is it you're asking, Rabbit? What were you... So you're saying that maybe if you could rephrase, Rabbit. I'm not sure I get the question.
You said, sounds good. This is all referring to the class that day. Sometime after the class at 1:47, she says, you are brilliant and beautiful and amazing. Many thanks for teaching class today. And then you said, let's do a double.
What did I say earlier? How Wendi rewards people for guest lecturing. You were amazing and beautiful and excellent. Well, let's hear that again. I know I have seen this before, but I don't remember every sentence, right? But that was so spot on to what I said, wasn't it?
So I can thank you and take you to lunch, please. Day have to run to 50 a.m. 10, please. I have to run today after class, but can we set up a date so I can thank you and take you to lunch, please? You said, sounds good. This is all referring to the class that day. Sometime after the class at 1:47, she says, you are brilliant and beautiful and amazing. Many thanks for teaching class today.
You are brilliant and beautiful and amazing. Many thanks for teaching class today. And I'll take you out for lunch. I'm going to throw you a little Adelson bone, okay? I'll eat and you can have the bones.
And then you said, let's do a double date. I'm sorry, she said, let's do a double date. Yeah.
Okay, so she said, let's do it. I didn't respond to that because that felt weird to me.
Right. But she's referring to the social worker.
The social worker boyfriend.
Do you know his name?
They were Facebook friends. I don't know if there's.
Okay, hold on a sec, guys. We've got an update from Rabbit on that question. But the punchline is first Wendi made the statement. Then next day Demko says this. Then Lacasse says Wendi and her family are freaks. By the time Lacasse is with Isom still hasn't grasped family is suspicious. Well, we're talking about General Isom here, Rabbit. So, a minute ago he said, and Harvey is Wendy's dad. Yeah, the fun never ends with Isom. But we are going to be looking at him on the stand as soon as we're through Tamara Demko's interview. I don't know if we're going to finish the whole thing tonight. It might be a two-part special. But after the Tamara Demko interview, we're going to generalize him on the stand, where he starts to win some stripes back. I think he performs very well on the stand. He's very clear with Georgia Kappelman under direct examination. And then Christopher Coast comes in and tries to ruffle his feathers, just ruffle all his feathers and mess them all up and make him look like a fool chicken in front of the jury. And Isom stands his ground. Actually, I don't like using that phrase. he sets him straight. He's like, listen, lawyer, I see what you're trying to do, lawyer. Trying to make me look like a fool that can't remember anyone's name or even spell Monroe. Not gonna happen, lawyer. Hey, Spacey Dove, thank you so much for the super sticker.
Stiller, she had his picture up. They've been dating since September, she told me. Dan knew about him. He mentioned him to me when we went to dinner the week before, or a couple weeks before. And his take was kind of like, well, if she's happy, why isn't she just, getting on with her life? He apparently went poof shortly thereafter. That's less than a month. I guess my question to that would be, he's a social worker. If he wasn't inclined to do something on her behalf, did he just find her to be getting too out of control to be with her? I don't know. Unless it was her decision.
Did she say he was a
professor of social work?
Professor. Okay, so
he's licensed.
FSU or?
Yes, FSU College of Social Work professor. He looked a little bit like Danny, I suppose, looked when he was younger.
Okay.
He did look a little bit like Danny, and they're both Libras.
You met him?
I did not meet him.
You saw his picture?
I saw his picture. Mm-hmm. And
is this the only guy in her life?
So, good question.
Here's Daniel Sack. See, this guy looks like he could be an Adelson, doesn't he? I mean, I don't know too much about Daniel Sack, but yeah, there's something not quite right.
When Danny and I were at Thai food that night for my birthday, Ken Lawson, who's the secretary of DDPR, he happened to be there and he said hello, and Dan said hello, and I'm fairly certain that Ken and Wendi dated right around the divorce or around the time she left or something around there. But that was just in passing. She's been very close to the vest.
Ooh, the two has got a controversial question here. The two says, I may be wrong, but anyone else think allegedly Isom was paid off to ignore facts? No officer can be this stunted. I don't think so. At no point have I thought that Isom is on the take, and I'd say that quite forcefully. In fact, I'd say there's no way that's going on. Not Craig Isom. He's a good old boy. He's just about to retire. He's tired. He's old. He didn't expect for this case to come in, and he's been up all night, probably. We do poke a lot of fun at him, and he does make some strange errors in judgment, but I've never felt any notion that he's on the take at all. No.
And I didn't know she was dating anyone. I mean, I heard from Danny, but then I didn't know from her that was the case. And I don't think he knew from her. I think he knew from other people telling him. So that was kind of odd. And even if they had just broken up and things were good, like I would still be over helping to comfort her yesterday. That's a big deal, especially with a social work background. Like, Janine, according to her husband, I guess, he wasn't there, but Janine was with Wendi when she found them. Janine's like, I went to the police station with her, but it felt very.
Oh my God, Mrs. D, you've just. That's absolutely right. Are you talking about Daniel Sack? He looks like Russell Williams. That the brow, The eyebrow stare. Russell Williams has a bit of a rounder, heavier looking head. But I totally saw that, and I can't even, the picture's gone now, but it's still in my brain, and it was just like Russell Williams, if that's what you're talking about.
Like, is she an attorney? Is she representing her? It felt very guarded, very, very guarded. Like you was like her personal bodyguard now, and almost like guarded with the children around me. I'm like, that's really weird. Her again. Wendy's mom seemed fine. Anyone else, I can't say.
You don't suspect anything suspicious about her mom.
Not so much, no.
But her dad, you're feeling some vibes because of him not wanting to look you in the eye yesterday.
And then today not wanting to look me at all. No.
Did he acknowledge you at all today?
No, he didn't. Not at all. And he and his son had a dental practice. He was well respected in the community down in South Florida. Shows a lot of resources, and I'm sure that if anything were to take place, they would be extremely smart about it. But
well, that's questionable. I don't think they were extremely smart about it. He got his girlfriend to hire her thug ex and his mate to drive up to Tallahassee, making every possible fuck up there is on the trip, on the mission, taking pictures of the owl and posting it with your location on Instagram in the town where you're doing a murder, which is a 9-hour drive and a place you've never been before once in your life. Shooting a hole in the Prius, getting completely wasted on coke and booze the entire drive up, getting pulled over for driving 90 in a 40 at 9 a.m. or whatever it was. Rough numbers, guys. Anything else? Yeah, calling, always on the phone, hiring a car in your own name, pulling a gun on those guys in the motel. What was that? Cheech and Chong would have been more subtle.
I got a vibe from him, like, I know you suspect me, and I'm done. I don't know.
You said that woman that was over there was Janine?
Janine? Mm-hmm.
You know her last name or anything?
Nope. Supposedly she was with.
I'm always a bit confused about this, and I can't remember if it got confirmed or not. Does she mean Jane? Because the way that she's talking about Janine would fit with the behavior of Jane. She was chaperoning her, keeping an eye on her, wouldn't let Tamara get close to Wendi without Janine/Jane being there. I think we all defined this at some point before on this channel, guys, but I don't remember what the result was.
With Wendi when Wendi was being.
Isom was suspecting that as well. Like, do you know her last name? Was her last name Janine McPherson? Because then we'd know it's Jane, right?
Interrogated, or at the police station with Wendi at the time she was being questioned.
Okay.
And then Janine's husband, but she was protective in a way that felt a little overprotective.
That was the first time you met her?
Yes.
Okay.
And
never heard of her before?
Mm-mm.
What do you know about her two brothers? I know there's two brothers.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard about this Charlie, and he's a periodicist.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Had worked with her dad, and that's in South Florida. And then her older brother, whose name is escaping me right now, I believe was in New York, doctor, married to an Indian descent woman.
Just posted the Discord link. Neverly, sorry.
Named Haritha. And protective of her, but very kind of separate.
Yeah, I remember Luis Rivera saying that he posted a picture of a lion, not an owl. And then when he said that, I was trying to remember ornithology class. isn't there an owl that is called the lion owl? And I was thinking, is that what he means? It's sort of got a mane. It's an owl, but it has this fluffy mane. And I don't think I was right, but maybe we should look that up. Any ornithology experts out there?
Involved with his own life and his family. Charlie was the one who was closer.
Charlie's older than her as well?
Charlie's the younger one.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wait, no. I guess Wendi is the youngest. It's just that Charlie's younger than I am too,
Okay.
so. But I was down there in their house. I was trying to help her learn how to breastfeed with Danny in there and brother. And I when they split up, I went down and met with Wendi and went out with Wendi and Charlie and his friends. It's mind blowing, but the legal situation was getting to another.
Yeah, Katie, the thing that comes to mind is J-Lo from the movie Made in Manhattan. I know she's Filipino, but Filipino is a Spanish-speaking country.
Point where it was blowing up.
He somehow found out that she withheld financial disclosure.
Yes.
And was going to use that?
Yes.
For what purpose?
It was to discredit her and have things adjusted, I believe, including getting back his heirloom.
Okay, he told you this?
Yes.
Okay, and he told you the figure of
$500,000 is what
Danny told you that directly?
Yes.
So in other words, when they were going through their divorce proceedings and they each had to file disclosure statements,
correct,
she shorted it by $500,000.
He said she fraudulently did it, yes.
And he didn't bring it up then? Or he didn't know about it then?
He didn't know about it then.
But he's discovered it since?
Yes.
And so...
And he talked about it even before we went to dinner on my birthday.
Did he talk about it to anybody else that you know of?
I'm sure he talked about it to Alex and Maya. Now, he also talks about stuff, I'm sure, to his parents, because when I met Ruth, Ruth was trying to talk to Donna Adelson, Wendy's mom, and saying, like, oh, I really like to see the boys. And, Donna just kept walking away.
Who was saying that?
Ruth.
Right.
Said to Wendy's mom, Donna. Today at the service. I'd really like to see the boys. And Donna kept walking away with the boys. And Ruth turned to me and she said, I hope what I just saw didn't actually happen. She just got ignored.
Oh.
And she said that. She's like, well, I guess that's not going to happen, but you know the story. So obviously I infer that Dan had been talking to her and the family about these problems. It was a big family to family. But Danny talked to him about everything. They were like brother and sister to him while he was here.
Okay.
And he needed that kind of rock. He was a mess with what Wendi put him through. And I'll tell you that Maya, on some level, suspects that Wendy's family might be involved. Alex is really trying not to think that way. Let me pull up Dan's messages. Let me see if there's the list of attorneys. That's what I wanted to go through. He says, I hope you're not using Wendy's lawyer. Said, who does she have? Currently, Kristen Adamson. Sorry, Kristen Adamson. I'll just let you see it.
This was her attorney. That's what she's talking about. Before was Shannon Novy.
This is Danny writing to me.
Okay.
Because I was in the process of trying to find an attorney, which I didn't end up using with my ex.
Okay.
But the way that this went was every so often, each of them would change lawyers. And what that would do was conflict out the attorney for the other person.
Not sure how that works, but okay. You're the law grad.
Basically, if they've ever talked to you about your case,
Right.
you can't represent the other person.
Okay.
So they went around and get consultations and had each person for a little while. If they didn't like how the attorney was handling it, they'd jump to the attorney shop.
And the other one couldn't use the one they just got through
Correct.
with.
And there are only a certain number of family certified attorneys in town.
Okay.
It got ugly. I mean, it was a long list of, and he was actively filing motions to conflict out people she was selecting as of when we went to dinner on June 4th.
So it sounds like they're both trying to eliminate all the possible attorneys that the other side can have.
Correct. It was honestly, it was just ugly.
Okay.
And
Another one of those Isom confirmations, superfluous confirmations. That's his specialty, superfluous confirmations. In a minute, he's going to say, and it was Wendi and Dan that were getting this divorce.
for a while, it became ugly in a really like a Cold War sort of way. And then in the last month and a half, it had started heating up again. Originally, she had asked me.
Yeah, in a Cold War sort of way, Wendi was moving missiles into Cuba and pointing them at Dan's house.
I did the guest lecture June 17th. Originally, she'd sent me an email asking me to guest lecture on June 3rd, which was my birthday, so I remember it. Because she wanted me to guest lecture on the dates she and Danny were supposed to go into court. And then that got moved. So they were going back and forth that whole time.
See you later, Riverdale Pilates.
Up until this past June?
This was this June.
Yeah, I know. I'm
Yeah.
saying, what were they going to go to court for on June 3rd?
They were going to court again for this. He was trying to raise those issues, those particular issues.
Had he notified, had he already filed this motion? Had he already?
I don't know.
Okay.
I know that they were going to court, and then he wanted to adjust it to add certain things on
Okay.
for conflict and for this failure to disclose
Okay.
aspect.
And she was notified of that.
I assume so. And she, when she used to trust me and talk to me about her legal stuff, and then she felt like I was getting too close to Danny, she, her parents were goading her on, like, you need to go to the mattresses, you need to get, and they wanted to be done with him and really stick it to him. There was a mentality when she would talk to me and when I was present with them, when they would talk, that he owed her.
Okay.
And he owed her big time, which they weren't married a whole lot of years, but there was this, he owes you. That was, and I don't know whether it was because she had told them she felt she had been abused or what, but that was incredibly present. And the people that she talked to on Team Wendi had heard stories that Danny was very upset about, and he spent time trying to change that.
I don't know if a lot of people wonder about what she was telling her parents. I don't think she really would have needed to make up some horrible story about being abused. The point is, they're the Adelsons, and they're going to take all your money, and you're going to do everything they say. If you don't agree with that, that is abuse in their mind, right? I don't think she needed to go to her parents and say, "Oh, he locked me. He locked me in the basement and he blackened my eyes." You know, or some horrible story like of physical abuse. It wasn't required. You remember Donna's email, "He hasn't beaten the Adelsons yet." It's all about winning. If you don't let them win because they tell you they're going to win and you put up a fight, that's enough to get turbocharged.
So it got personal, it got professional, it was unpleasant.
Did Danny ever concede that he owed her more money?
No, he felt like he owed her less money. I mean, he would do anything for the boys. He would give everything for the boys. But in terms of her taking something that she wasn't owed, he was not.
No, I know, but I'd heard something before about that there was some contention in this divorce that he had not paid for everything.
And that was the case, I think, earlier on, to my knowledge.
I don't know if it was the equity of the house or.
Yeah, they disagreed on house. Yeah, that sounds right. They disagreed on that. They disagreed on
Linda Fiorentino as Tamara Demko.
the jewelry, the heirloom, and then in going through this process, it was the concealment of the $500,000 in assets. And I didn't understand the details of what that entailed, if that was like inheritance money. I think she thought it was inheritance money that he wasn't entitled to. But it was a back and forth of, you just didn't do this, you didn't disclose that, you should have.
Hey guys in the chat, imagine if we had a like on the video for every actor you've suggested. Why don't we try and make that happen? Every time you suggest an actor, you hit like.
Done this, and it was, she felt trapped. I know she felt trapped here. And I know that he, especially now dating someone in New York, was like, he wanted things to move on. I mean, he wanted, even before he started dating Amy, when he was talking to me, he wanted to move on.
You know, Tallahassee, I think a lot of Tallahassee is my home, but yeah. I know a lot of people are of the opinion, well, Tallahassee is not Miami, it's not Orlando, it's definitely not New York, it's not Boston. So a guy, I mean.
Speaking of Linda Fiorentino, we need to do a close caption analysis, or what's the right phrase? Just an analysis of the movie Last Seduction, or The Last Seduction, with Linda Fiorentino, because I have a feeling it's been about 15 years since I saw the movie, but it's a ruthless, sociopathic plot that is really, from what I remember, it's nothing like this story. But as the woman Linda is playing, that just completely tears down the houses with this plot that she doesn't get caught for. She walks away with it, everything. I got a feeling that Wendy's seen the movie and thought, I want to do this. This is a bit of me. I'm going to come up with a plan. I gotta find the time to watch that movie again and take notes and see if there's a show we could do, just going through some of the similarities. Anybody seen it in the chat? The Last Seduction.
I just wondered, I've never quite understood why they landed here from everything I've heard.
So he wanted to be a full-time professor, and he had some friends here who lived here before me and had talked to them as well. And so FSU became the option. And they had lived in DC together before they came down here, and seemed to have a nice romance, seemed like a nice couple. And they moved here, and she was miserable here. they moved here, and she was miserable here, even before the wedding. And he wanted to set up roots. He wanted to have a kind of a, he's Canadian of all things, but he wanted like a Burby family, go to shul, and he could establish himself. And this provided enough of the small town feel that he's like, I'm going to throw myself into it. And he was happy to do that. He wanted the house. They got the house together. You know, he wanted to do it all up, and he was excited about that. And she went along.
Yeah, I bet he wishes he just bought a house in Mississauga now. Yeah, stay in Ontario, Dan. Much safer, much safer. Don't go anywhere near Tallahassee or Miami, Dan. Please, Mississauga. That's the one for you.
But I knew she wasn't excited about it.
Well, why Tallahassee as opposed to someplace down in South Florida where she's from?
That's not a place where he could get a professorship immediately.
Okay.
It's bigger competition.
Okay.
And I don't think he was as keen on Miami. In fact, after she left him, he's like, I'll even move down to Miami with you, kind of thing. Showed him. But I was too late at that point. But he didn't want to go down to Miami. She always felt they would end up in Miami. I think they lived in Miami. Yeah, they did. They lived in Miami while she lived in Miami while she was finishing school for a year. So they were down in Miami for a little bit together. I actually went and visited them in Miami.
Oh, they were married?
I don't even think they were married yet. I'm not sure. It was either just before or shortly after they got married that they were down in Miami. When I was still married and I lived in Brandon, they came when they were engaged and stayed at my house for a couple of nights. So her life was South Florida. She grew up there, wanted to be back there, especially when the kids came. She wanted to be close to her parents. It was a little overwhelming for her, especially with two boys. And he was, hey, we're here, and let's go into the community and really become a part of it. And so he was trying to help her get a teaching position at FSU. And so she started as an adjunct, and she was teaching the medical, legal, clinical. Marshall Cap, she was the person she reported to. He was at the service today. And she started bringing me in to guest lecture, and I've done it every semester for the last 3 years, including her summers. So I always have touched base with her, but it's once a semester, once every 3 or 4 months. And Danny, it's, at least every month I'm hanging out with him at some point.
Okay. All right. So basically, from our conversation,
I don't feel good about her dad.
right. Anybody else in the family besides him?
I haven't seen Charlie in a really long time, but I know that she was relying heavily on Charlie, and if she was telling anyone about what happened or what she felt happened, it would have been Charlie.
Okay.
And that he was very protective of her.
Yeah, and that Harvey was spending so much time traveling to Tallahassee that Charlie had to buy his business from him, and then do nothing with it, and then sell it back to him. I don't know this, as this isn't confirmed, but those two purchase and sales aligning with Harvey traveling a lot to Tallahassee, and then Harvey bought the business back after Wendi was leaving down? Perhaps.
Danny felt like he was okay with Charlie at the beginning, and then over time he felt like he wasn't anymore.
Because Charlie made it seem so innocent on the stand. Remember, he was like, what did he say? He said, "Oh yes, my dad wanted to sell the business because he wanted to retire, and I wanted to keep it in the family name, the Adelson Institute. But I didn't do anything with it. I was so busy with my traveling dentist business." And I remember Jeff saying in yesterday's stream, guys, that, and I'd forgotten this, that The reason Charlie was a traveling dentist is because no office wanted him for more than 1 day a week, because he annoyed everyone. He harassed all the women, the secretaries, the patients. You know, they were just like, okay, you can do 1 day a week, but that's it. So he had to go from dentist to dentist to dentist. Interesting.
And I think the same thing. He felt like he was fine with her parents, and then all of a sudden they flipped on him. He was very confused about it. And I think over time, when he was hearing some of the things that she had passed along to colleagues, who then started looking at him funny, he realized that her family members may be thinking the same things. And I don't know exactly what she was telling them, but he was painted as not a nice person.
Okay.
So it became very he said, she said. Now, I do believe they both love those children to death. But I've never seen a father so devoted. And she became very happy to travel, and she'd be gone for just periods at a time and leave the boys. I don't know who she left them with, if her parents came up or what, but she would just leave. And it really bothered him too, because when she did that, sometimes he wouldn't get the boys, or it was like a day off, and so she's like, oh well, they'll just stay with this person this time. And
I think the Ponzi scheme, Neverly, I think that was 1992.
And so there were little takes where she kept trying to cut into his time schedule. But they had a little bit of a groove for a while, where it seemed like it was going okay. And then just in the last few months, it has felt like a renewed flurry of legal activity. And she seemed happy and excited about the social worker boyfriend. And Dan thought maybe she would calm down and be happy.
Yeah, totally excited about that social worker, non-lawyer, non-doctor, non-dentist, non-senator boyfriend with the shitty basement apartment in the student area of town. Yeah, she was thrilled. Yeah, she especially loved when they went out to dinner and she had to get into his smelly, rotten 2004 Nissan Sentra with the duct tape fenders. She loved that.
And start her own path. And he had recently gone up to visit her. So after we went to dinner, he was leaving to go visit her, and they had this pattern where they switch off every couple of weeks. Mostly he would fly up because she had some flying issues and was a little bit timid about flying. So he would go up, and she was scheduled to come down and meet the boys in person for the first time, which recently just happened. So he was all excited about that.
He was a little bit timid about the flying and had some flying issues. I don't think that's ever sunk in for me before, so that's really appropriate for the Adelstons to say, yeah, look, we'll give you $1 million and then you can commute. You can get a plane and be terrified every day, twice, to work. How about it? That's like saying to someone who's got a fear of heights, we've got you a job. We've got you a job cleaning all the windows on the Icon building. You should be grateful for your new job. Now grab a bucket and get in that shaky elevator thing that goes up the side of the high rise. Okay? Thank you. And you're welcome. You're welcome. That's why we're the Adelsons.
And she had started Skyping with the boys. My understanding was that Wendi had found out that she was Skyping with the boys and was furious about it. And this is very recently.
I didn't know that.
So Amy had started coming more into the boys' lives, and I don't think she was handling it well from what I've heard. No, I don't.
She was Skyping from here. Danny was having the boys on Skype here while he had them.
I don't know. I think he may have tried to put her on while he was with her.
Oh.
While the boys were with Wendi. That's my understanding.
Oh, okay.
Which upset her.
Okay.
Which would make more sense if she were present. When I walked into Wendy's yesterday, and I'm assessing the situation, and Janine was there, and they went into a private conversation, and I'm sitting down, and they're like, well, does Amy, we'd have to talk to Amy, and and I said, I talked to Amy.
Just 6 more likes, guys, and we've got a 100% rating. How about it? 6 of you have not liked the video. Let's get that going.
And I said, does she know? They said, yeah, she knows. I'm like, no, not what happened. Does she know? As if, does she know where the investigators are looking? Was the implication.
Oh, hang on. I want to see this again. This private conversation with Janine.
And I'm assessing the situation. And Janine was there, and they went into a private conversation, and I'm sitting down, and they're like, well, does Amy, we'd have to talk to Amy, and and I said, I talked to Amy. And I said, does she know? They said, yeah, she knows. I'm like, no, not what happened. Does she know? As if, does she know where the investigators are looking? Was the implication. And I said, what do you mean? And the next question was Wendi redirected, and she said, has she talked to her husband? And so she started down this path with Janine there of making me wonder, or wanting to make me wonder if Amy's husband was involved. It didn't.
I love that there's a saying that you can't con an honest guy, right? Tamara Demko, all of Wendy's sneaky tricks like that, like, oh, you spoke to Amy. And have you heard anything about her potential jealous ex that I mentioned in my law enforcement interview? Trying to plant that seed to make Tamara Demko be conned and go, hey, yeah, maybe that's a good lead. She's recently divorced as well. Maybe her ex-husband isn't too happy with Dan. But Tamara's got a heart of gold. She's honest. She's intelligent. And she's not fooled by that bullshit, you know?
I still didn't feel led that way, even with that discussion change. But that was the path. Wendi is good at keeping things close to the vest and redirecting. And for example, she and I were pretty close while she was writing that book. She didn't tell me she was writing the book at all. And then when she finally told me, she gave me a copy, and it was like, oh, author lives in Tallahassee with her 2 sons.
Now, was this a book about a single woman raising 2 children?
Yeah. This is our story. It was a fictionalized version of human trafficking based on her clinical work.
Okay. And
it's apparently hit. It was selected at FSU to be it was like their one book or something campus. So everyone who joined, every new freshman gets a copy of her book. I was told that up at UNC or up at Duke, there's a copy of her book.
3.5 stars out of 70 votes. I don't think that's a hit. Did you catch that on the vote?
I was told that up at UNC or up at
on review, 3.5 stars out of 70 votes, and probably all the ones that gave it a 5 are her family and colleagues, right? That's not a big number, 70, and you've got 3.5 out of 5. Oh yeah, it was a hit.
Duke. There's a copy of her book in the law library up at Duke. She was one of the few people that she self-published, And then after she self-published, because she was so good at publicizing it, people came back and wanted to formally publish it for her, which is rare. And Dan was all like supportive about everything and all this kind of stuff. And it's still, honestly, when I looked at that, I'm like, it was one of the things I noted, but I put in the back of my mind with every other little weird thing. And then when she left him, I was like, oh, she knew this was coming. But she when she finished it was like a whole year before.
Hey, Sarah. Good.
Yeah, Joanne Georgiadis says, does she love him? Are you talking about Tamara? I think she does. I think they loved each other very much. You can tell from her vibe. But probably one of those things where it's like, well, you know, let's not get together because we don't want to risk our friendship. But they were really close and caring and knew about each other's lives in a very interpersonal way. So there's a lot of love here, if that's what your question is. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, Ian. Yeah, I think we should test Tamara's fingers for gunshot residue. You know, has that been done? Has she been ruled out? It could have been her.
I'm with her now. Well, she was going to help them look for that, but that's just not that I know of. Well, actually, we're just about done here, and she can go back by the house if that's what she wants to.
Yes, please.
So they were what? Okay. All right. I'll let her know. Bye. Apparently, it sounds like they're having some type of difficulty finding this will or possibility of a will. Or I don't know if they even know for sure.
I just know that at some point we talked about another one. I don't know where in the timeline it is.
Yeah, that will. It's recently been rewritten in this psychopathic handwriting saying, and as to all my worldly assets, they will be bequested to Wendi. She gets the house, my savings, and all my family heirlooms. They all go to her for the boys.
At all.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So she wrote this book. It's going to come out this fall.
No, it came out.
Okay.
I don't remember when it came out. I can probably go through notes and figure out. But the timeline for when she.
Yeah, follow Neverly Darling's example, guys. We got loads of stuff coming out. We got General Isom on the stand coming soon. We've got a really good video coming up on a theory that's come out of nowhere, and I just keep thinking about it all the time, about the celebration dinner and what's behind that big vomiting at the table. Don't miss that. Then what are we covering? We had a plan. I think we're finished. That's enough to take us up until Monday. But then all next week, new subjects of this case. We're staying on the Adelson case for a little bit because there's just so much heat on the case as we build to Donna's trial. So make sure everyone subscribes to the channel, leaves a like on the video. To anyone new joining the chat, this isn't a double plug for all you long timers, but anyone new joining the chat, if you want to support the channel, you can do so by leaving a super chat, super like, super thanks, super sticker on the YouTube stream, or you could go to the description in the video and there's a link to buymeacoffee.com where you could buy us a coffee.com. And there's also memberships on buymeacoffee.com and, of course, on YouTube as well. Patreon will be coming soon with official releases, guys. Watch this space. Social networks are all in the description for the video. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and everybody's favorite community of all, Discord. Link to Discord right here, right here, right here. Click it now. Join.
Left him. She had published it many months before she left, and that's how she put it in the book.
And thank you, Riverdale Pilates, for the generous super sticker. That's so kind of you, and we thank you.
Okay.
So she had been planning it for a long time.
Because there was no acknowledgement of him as her husband, even though they were still married at the time. Okay. Okay. And they were still living together at that time? Okay.
Yep. And she told me later that, you know, she had been thinking about it for a long time, but she had really been thinking about it for a long time. Like, it was a deftly executed plan of, he's gone this weekend, everything out. And the book, having been written so far in advance, was just strange to not include him when he also teaches there, and they were living in the same house and supposedly happily married. So I tried to think maybe that does give some credence to her really wanting to get out because of certain reasons. But I've never, Danny can be crass, and I can see how he can come across as condescending. He was just a typical condescending Harvard nerdy type person when I first met him, like bow tie wearing, and people.
Typical insulting Harvard lawyer type. In fact, at Harvard, part of the syllabus when you become a lawyer at Harvard is a 3-week course on how to give highbrow insults to people of lower standing jobs, like social workers. Like on day one, you go up to a social worker and you say, "So, are you a lawyer?" "No." "Okay. A doctor?" "No." "Okay. Government official?" "Well, a dentist. You've got to be a dentist." "What do you do?" "Social studies." "Okay, well, you know, the world needs ditch diggers too."
He would rub people the wrong way because he was very, very highfalutin, these big words. He was very confident in his intelligence, but it came across as arrogant.
Oh,
Okay.
hey, thank you so much, Doid. Doide. Is that what it is? Yeah, thank you for the Canadian super sticker. Very much appreciated. That's like a jar of maple syrup. We'll stock up tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Across as arrogant to many people. Over time, he mellowed, especially after Wendi and especially with the boys. He mellowed. He's like, okay, everything doesn't have to be so put in place and nothing's so perfect, and he just matured. And he went to wearing sandals every day and kind of like slobbing it around. I'm like, oh, this is interesting, this phase. But he just became more comfortable in his own skin and in Tallahassee. And he, especially hearing it now, like, he was able to make a lot of friends. If he rubbed people the wrong way or he seemed arrogant, people were eventually won over by his kind of, self-deprecating at times, but wise, silly sarcasm. And he was very silly. In his professional life, so he started Props Blog. He was doing this website called Props Blog. He was very active. He had gathered academics from across the United States, and they were all working on this blog that he had, but he was the main person doing it. it really took off. I mean, I think it was ranked on some list in the last year fairly high.
Was this for law professors?
Spelled PRAWFS blog, Prof's blog. And he was happy. I mean, he thought he was happy with Wendi, and then after he left, he was miserable. After she left, he was miserable, and then he was finally getting back. He was getting back, and I think all he wanted is for his children to grow up in that legacy. And
Riverdale, who is Maya? Maya is the woman who told Tamara how Dan was shot, and wrongly, and really amped up the horror on the reporting. His head was blown off. Only his chin was left. It was just a neck and then a chin, and that was it. Brain gone. Skull gone. Just the mandible. No, but I don't know. Oh, it's Wendi and Dan's friends. Neville's got the facts.
all of his close friends.
So Maya would have gotten that information from Wendi. You see, when you can imagine Wendi really wanting to hit home on the horror, salivating as she describes Markel's neck chin.
Now that at the first chance she has, she'll be in South Florida. There will not be any Jewish upbringing. His friends are freaking out about this right now. And that pretty much any wish that he had for them would be just completely out the door. But they were having a very difficult time balancing their wishes.
What?
Balancing their wishes.
Okay.
Because they were so opposite each other.
Right.
It was the type of thing where the sentiment was, it would.
The day after the event, guys, and Wendi is telling friends that of Professor Markel and her friends, there will be no Jewish upbringing. Yes, I've made that decision immediately after hearing that Professor Markel had his head removed from his body. You see, things like that. Is it because she's stupid? I think it's because she's mental, crazy. Talk about waving a flag of suspicion over yourself.
Not end.
Okay.
And for Wendi to have acted on multiple occasions, including the time she left, in a very long-term, very secretive planning mode, and then a very almost shockingly sudden execution, it just makes me wonder. And I don't know if that's a family trait, but I know that everyone, family, friends, everyone was tired of having different teams, tired of this legal back and forth. And if people felt it wasn't going to end, I could see them wanting to make it end.
Okay. Like you said, this opens up all her options as to where she goes from here.
Yeah. And I care about her, and I've been friends with her, but it's through Danny that I first met her. And I've been friends with him for a decade before that. And it was because of her that my loyalty was, I can't date you right now either. So it's like I've tried to respect that. I've tried to respect where everyone is. But I'm already devastated. I'm kind of in the numb zone right now. but he was my confidant. He was my advisor. He was someone who I could trust, and that for me was very rare.
Hi, Albert. All the lives have the chat on them after the show. If you're looking at it on a cell phone, there's a way to get it up. It's a bit different, but you can look that up. If it's on a computer, it's just right there next to the video. Yeah, but it takes like an hour or two after the stream to get the chat, I think, or maybe less, maybe 30 minutes. I'm not sure.
So I don't know what I'm going to be doing without him here. Maybe get out of Tallahassee.
You worried for your own safety?
I was worried, like, if someone...
Let's talk about the marriage. You and Professor Markel, you met when you were in law school. You told
That just happened in the video, guys. That wasn't my edit, but I never say no to a bit of Christopher DeCoste. This is Mentor Lawyer's video. Thank you again, Mentor Lawyer. We're using your content. We hope you don't mind. We hope that falls under the Freedom of Information Act or whatever. and that you don't mind, because we really enjoy watching it, and we're trying to add our own insights to it as well. So we really appreciate that, Mentor.
that to Miss Capel. And it was a whirlwind romance, right? Right?
It was not a whirlwind romance, no.
It led to a wedding, February 26th of 2006. You had a big wedding in Boca Raton, right?
Did we get married on February 26, 2006? Is that the question? Yes,
In Boca Raton.
in Boca Raton, Florida.
And it wasn't a small wedding, it was a big wedding.
There were many people in attendance.
All right, in this marriage, it led to 2 children, right? Your 2 boys.
Are you asking me if I have 2 boys?
Yes.
Yes.
Thanks, Bob. And now I just fucked up the terminology, speaking directly to a lawyer. I hang my head in shame. Fair use. It's fair use, not freedom of information. I knew that. It's late. It's 2 in the morning, okay?
And Professor Markel, he was a great father, wasn't he?
He was a very good father, yes.
Those boys were his world, right?
As well as his work, yes.
And they adored him too, didn't they?
Absolutely.
Now, this marriage started to fall apart, right?
It did.
But there were problems from the very beginning, weren't there? Right?
Are you asking me, what is the very beginning? The very beginning of when we got married?
Literally at the wedding.
There were problems before we got married.
All right, so at the wedding, and the government asked you about kosher law, right?
About what, I'm sorry?
Keeping kosher,
About keeping kosher, yes.
right?
The government-
In your wedding, at your wedding was the groom's family, the Markel family, and they are more strict than your family and friends about keeping kosher.
They do not keep kosher.
Wasn't that one of the problems in your marriage, that Professor Markel was very insistent about keeping kosher?
About his kosher rules, but those are different than his family's.
So you're saying that it wasn't a problem at the wedding, that there were people from the groom's side of the family that were there that strictly keep kosher, that they were told that it was going to be kosher food, but it actually wasn't?
So there was a misunderstanding about whether the food was going to be kosher style or more in adherence with kosher law. There was a miscommunication about.
Keep an eye on, well, there isn't a merch store yet, guys, but we've got some fantastic kosher style t-shirts, mugs, whatever, all that great stuff. We've been working on the designs today, and they're probably going to be released next week. You know, you all want to rush in and buy 3 of them.
About that.
So you had people that strictly keep kosher eating non-kosher food, which is a big deal.
That actually is not what happened. You had, Danny was upset that it was kosher style and not strictly adhering to kosher law. So he was disappointed.
So there's problems right from the beginning.
That was a problem at our wedding, yeah.
Yeah, the officiating rabbi had to leave. he said, listen, I can't be part of this. You're serving milk and meat together and nothing has been prepared in kosher way, method. What is the term? In accordance with kosher rules. And I have to leave. Major embarrassment. His entire family have come down to Boca Raton, can't eat anything. I'd love to know what the actual menu was. You know, what was it? Kosher style shrimp, cheeseburgers, and pepperoni pizzas. Ridiculous.
Wendi is good at keeping things close to the vest and redirecting. And for example, she and I were pretty close while she was writing that book. She didn't tell me she was writing the book at all. And then when she finally told me, she gave me a copy, and it was like, oh, you know.
Hey, newsflash. Tamara, you were never close. You were there as a guest lecturer, okay? And then to make sure you would guest lecture the next time, Wendi would say, oh, you're so wonderful and beautiful, and what was it? And a grand friend, and I'll take you for lunch. I will eat, and you will have my bones. That's not close, Tamara. I don't think anybody has ever been close to Wendi. Not unless you're as evil as she is.
Author lives in Tallahassee with her 2 sons.
Now, was this a book about a single woman raising 2 children?
Yeah. This is our story. It was a fictionalized version of human trafficking based on her clinical work.
Okay.
And it's apparently hit. It was selected at FSU to be it was like their one book or something campus. So everyone who joined, every new freshman gets a copy of her book. I was told that up at UNC or up at Duke, there's a copy of her book in the law library up at Duke. She was one of the few people that she self-published. And
hey, Geraldine Holland, first time you've got us live. Well, it's good to see you. Good to see you in a live. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
And then after she self-published, because she was so good at publicizing it, people came back and wanted to formally publish it for her, which is rare. And Dan was all like supportive about everything and all this kind of stuff. And it's still, honestly, when I looked at that, I'm like, it was one of the things I noted, but I put in the back of my mind with every other little weird thing. And then when she left him, I was like, oh, she knew this was coming. But she when she finished, it was like a whole year.
Fast forward now to September 10th, 2012. Professor Markel.
Head tilt. We're going to start collecting crazy criminal women and their head tilts, guys. I've been thinking about it, and I've got like 9 in my head already, and I haven't even been through the archives. So we will be collecting a gallery on wherever we collect galleries. Where are we going to put that? Well, I guess we'll be publishing them one by one on the social networks, link in the description. But also, we're getting our website back next week, folks. We're going to pay that server company. They held us to ransom, but the day has come. So truecrimemetrics.com is coming back. There's going to be loads of great stuff on there too, guys. Big plans, big plans.
Markel, he's away on a business trip, right?
Yes,
He's in New York City at New York University, right?
I believe so, yes.
And he's doing a presentation.
I don't know what he was doing.
Your husband at the time was in New York to give a presentation. You knew that, right?
I knew he was in New York. I didn't know if he was attending a conference or giving a presentation, but he was in New York for work.
Now, you had not communicated with him for 2 days.
I really don't remember.
You text him at around 2:30 in the afternoon, right? Right before he's about to do the presentation.
I really don't remember.
But you do remember dropping the bomb on him, don't you? Telling him that you wanted a divorce.
So I did not drop a bomb on him. We'd been in therapy for several months beforehand where I told him several times I wanted a divorce.
You say it's not a bomb, but you agree with me that he begged you to reconsider.
He was very upset and yes, wanted me to reconsider, but
In that phone call, he's begging you to reconsider. Please don't leave. Please don't break up our family, right?
he was very upset, yes.
And he was heartbroken. I mean, upset indicates that there was anger. What he was heartbroken, right?
That I decided to divorce him after telling him I would, yes.
Despite being at NYU for a presentation, he rushes home. He gets on the next flight, right?
I honestly don't remember if he got on the next flight, but he did come home quickly.
2:30, he finds out in New York. By 11 p.m., he's walking in the door to your old house at Trescott Drive, right?
I don't know.
But you do know that when he walks in the house, what he finds. You know that, right?
Yes, I left him the papers.
You left the divorce papers on the bed, right?
Yes,
Half the furniture was gone.
half the furniture was not gone.
A good amount of his stuff was gone.
Nothing of his was gone.
The boys' stuff was gone, right?
Some of the boys' things were gone. I'd taken enough so that I had for the boys, but no,
You were gone.
I was gone.
Yeah, Rabbit. I've seen that on TV. It looks fun. You know, was it? Muzzle tough, ba-da-da-da, muzzle tough. And they all put them on the chairs. Looks great.
Yes.
And so were his boys.
His boys were not gone. He saw them the next day, and they would not have been awake if he's coming home at 11 p.m.
Let's stay on topic here.
I'd
When
love
he
to stay on
walks in the
topic.
when he walks in the door, the boys are not in the house, right?
Correct.
And you did not tell Professor Markel where you were taking the boys. He may have seen them the next day, but you did not let him know where you were going to be staying with his boys.
With our boys? Yes.
It's been a while since we saw some Christopher DeCoste, and I never have enough of him. I think his skill at intonation and delivery is just pitch perfect most of the time, like 96% of the time. Very, very talented. I'd love to see him as like a stage actor.
So you agree with me that they're also his.
Of course they're his.
And he should be entitled to know where his wife is taking his children.
Absolutely.
That's not all you took, is it?
Hey, thanks so much, Neety. Haven't you've already given today, Neety? 2 super chats. Thank you so much. Needy says, I just wanted to see what a super chat looks like. Still can't find the hearts. So you get a saguaro. Saguaro. That's a good thing. Oh, is that? It's so small I can. Is it a cactus? Okay. Yeah. There's something else there, but I can't see what it is. But thank you so much, Needy.
Excuse me?
You two had a joint checking account at Schwab, right?
We did.
And you went into that account before you dropped the bomb, and you took out half of that account, right?
Correct.
Roughly $350,000.
Half, yes. Of our joint account.
$350,000.
I don't remember the amount, but yes.
You know that it was in the hundreds of thousands.
I really don't remember the amount, sir.
Is it that insignificant of a sum to you that you
I'm
don't
not saying
remember?
it's an insignificant sum. I'm saying I can't attest to the amount that was there.
I'm going to tone it down. You were unhappy in the marriage, right?
That's why I got divorced, yes.
And it happens. Marriages fall apart, right?
Yes.
But you complain constantly about it, didn't you?
You worried for your own safety?
I was worried, like, if someone is so rational that they would do something like this or put out a hit or plan this or whatever like this or put out a hit or plan this or whatever like this or put out a hit or plan this or whatever, and they
Put out a hit or plan this or whatever. You know, she just got it, right? Jeff Lacasse, got it. Tamara Demko, got it. Isom, he's coloring in. Oh, he's doing a word jumble in the corner. Just kidding, Isom. We think you're good, really. It's like lovable teasing. That's what we do, okay? If you're out there somewhere watching, Isom, we hope you're having a great time. in your retirement, you know, maybe you're even judging the pig race now, not just a contestant anymore. You ring the bell and give the scores. Yes, Isom, come on.
You feel like someone really suspicious about it, that person, why not? You know? If there's some kind of chink in the plan, and I know Ruth is trying so hard to be gracious because she wants that relationship with those boys. But it would break Danny's heart if it turns out the way that it's seemingly going to now. Where they're in Canada, she'll never let them go see. There's no grandparent rights, right, in Florida. They'll never be raised in that. And I guess that's her right, if there's nothing to do with this. But I pray that there's nothing, so she feed our family, nothing to do with that, because those boys need everyone. But there are so many good reasons for him not to be around. And I'm just angry thinking about it. Just even possibility, I'm furious about it. And when I grieve, it takes me years to actually get angry. So for me to get angry like on day one was very unusual. And if they'd had nothing to do with it, she put him through hell for the last year and a half. And everyone knows that.
That's the 5 stages of grief, isn't it, guys? That's what she's referencing. Denial. What is it? Denial, anger, depression, grief. No, that's the same as depression, isn't it? Denial, anger, depression, acceptance. Well, that's only 4 stages. Is it 4 stages or 5? Someone in the chat.
So there are different people.
Bargaining. Thank you, Rabbit. Great minds. So where does that come in? It's denial, anger, depression. No. Yeah, I got it, Rabbit. But what number in the order is bargaining?
But I didn't even want to call her. And I also found it strange that she didn't call me. She knew how close I was to him. I just guest lectured for her. She and I are friends. She didn't reach out to me, contact me, anything. I didn't even want to look at her Facebook page or call her. I'm like, she didn't reach out. This is just weird. And that's why I just showed up.
Oh, you talking about today?
Yesterday.
Oh, at the house.
Well, it's definitely in order. It's a process. It's definitely in order. Denial's first, and acceptance is last. Yeah, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. I have to agree with Rabbit. I concur, Rabbit.
Mm-hmm.
Then you showed up unannounced.
Correct.
Yeah. So when she's saying I'm sorry, when she greeted you, you're associating that with I'm sorry I didn't call you. I'm sorry I didn't notify you.
No, that was an I'm sorry for your loss, because she knew how close I was to him. No, I found it strange that in the period where she learned something had happened to him and didn't know he had died, because apparently that hadn't happened yet. She didn't call me, nothing. She knows I'm his oldest and closest friend here. Didn't call, nothing. Like, that just didn't feel right either. At some point, whether waiting, being questioned, worrying, something, it would have made.
Yeah, I agree. You can go back and forth, but you can't skip around. You can't go from denial to depression, can you? Oh, maybe. Who knows?
Complete logical sense, just seeing her a couple weeks ago, that she would have contacted me.
Okay.
So I don't know. So
I know they're waiting for you up there.
what
I
can
think-
you tell me now?
Well, I want to, I know that they were telling you about the injuries that he sustained. They were not that severe. I mean, it caused death, but it was not that as severe and as traumatic as what they were portraying. But that's not unusual for that.
Yeah, nice silver lining, Ryan. Isom beautifully gave them the space to get it all out. Yeah, he said, listen, you need space to work it all out. So why don't you sit there and do my job and work out the entire crime, and I will be over there in the corner with my word jumble.
To occur. I know that there was different.
I agree, Bob. I listen, I know I rip on Isom an awful lot, more so than anyone else in this story, I think, but it really is from a loving place. And I can't wait to see him on the stand, because we were calling him the Silver Fox for ages, guys. The Silver Fox is coming back tomorrow, I think. There was this other excerpt from the Tamara Demko that's much shorter, 30 minutes. But this is definitely coming to a close here, so I don't think I'm going to throw that in. She's about to walk out the room, or, not walk out the room. The interview's ending. So tomorrow, Silver Fox in the hot seat, Georgia, Christopher DeCoste, head to head. Gonna be good, guys. Don't miss it. Subscribe to the channel. Like the video.
Theories and people thought there was some type of maniac running loose in the neighborhood. It appears that, however this occurred, that he was targeted directly. I don't see anything that indicates someone was in the process of doing another crime and he interrupted them or anything like that. So basically you pretty much already have it, is that unless there's a case of mistaken identity, and I know that there's some other people at the law school with the same last name.
I agree, Bob. There's, people are always saying, oh, a jury might find reasonable doubt. Wendi comes across as so disturbingly unlikable, bad acting, weird statements, bullshit accusations, shadow accusations, coincidences, bullshit. I think just the interrogation would be enough to convict her of a jury of 12 of her peers. And then there's all the other stuff, and then all the stuff about the family. She's going down hard.
That it looks like someone came after Danny personally. As to why or what the motivation, that's still open.
I got to put this back, guys. You all ready for this? We're about to have the quick whip final recap summary by General Isom. He's going to make our heads spin with his powers of deduction here, okay? You all strapped in. Seatbelts on, guys. Ready for the wild ride.
Danny personally. As to why or what the motivation, that's still open. But I'm thinking anybody that would do something like this would probably know the right person. It wouldn't be a case of mistaken identity. It's possible, especially when you have 2 or 3 professors down there with the same pronunciation and similar spelling of the name. Now, as far as this thing he was consulting on, I understand that's just been within the past couple of weeks. The case that's up north is still going on. And he seems so far removed from that.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever.
And in addition, he was consulting for the defense. It's not like he was consulting for some type of expert witness for the prosecution.
And he was all about justice and being fair to defendants, especially. That was his work. That just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Was it at the door or was it in his car?
His car.
Okay. That was what I had heard on a more personal level. That there is a huge mistaken sense that he was on the phone, answered the door, and was shot in the face.
I know that's out there, and I'm not going to correct that.
I understand.
And I don't want you to repeat that.
I won't. I won't.
And I know that that's why the whole neighborhood is all up in arms, because nobody's going to want to answer their door now.
I know.
But when you go back to the home, more than likely you're going to understand, because that was the concern of the parents about blood in the house and so on and so forth. And I assured them that there wasn't. And then this morning I explained to them why there wouldn't be blood in the house.
I had heard originally it was the driveway, and that's why when I drove past yesterday and just sat there, it also bothered me that I was like, shouldn't there be some sign of him? Shouldn't there be something?
It's inside the garage. You're going to understand. It's going to make more sense when you get back to the house, because they're not going to. And I don't have a problem if they tell you. They may play dumb, or they may act like they're not supposed to tell you or whatever. But you can tell them that I've already talked to you and so forth.
And is it believed that it was a lie in wait situation?
I don't know about that. I don't know if it was a lie in wait or they followed him or.
Was it an open garage door?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I will say this. So both my babysitter and a friend down the street, they all live in Benton, had their cars broken into over the last several months. It's always been in the evening, though. It's always been for people who just happen to not lock their door that day.
That's correct.
And no one's ever gotten hurt, to my knowledge. Doesn't fit that either.
No.
It would be an interesting thing if someone knew that was going on, because it was such a long period of time that it occurred, that someone might think, oh, this might be a good thing to imply. But again, that crossed my mind.
Man, Tallahassee PD should have given Tamara and Jeff $1 million job offers for life. I mean, they're fantastic the way they put things together. Better than most cops, right? Better than any FBI profiler. It's just amazing to watch this. This is partly the reason that this case is as big as it is. Yes, the whole story of the Adelsons and the hitman and everything like that, and the horrible divorce really amped it up for a lot of people, and then throw in a crazy, controlling, narcissistic mother, big scores, right? But just the magic of watching Tamara Demko go through this investigation and put this all together, and the same with Jeff with his big book of notes. Tallahassee PD should be hiring these guys. Maybe they are. Maybe they're like under the radar employees now.
My mind, like, still doesn't fit. So
I don't think it's related to anything like that. Those are crimes of opportunity. Somebody comes by, flips the door handles. Actually, I had a conversation with a couple of ladies at the memorial service, and they were asking about that stuff. And I told them, I said, 9 times out of 10, people aren't locking their doors. Even this day and age, it's in their front yard, it's in their driveway, they don't lock it.
is it believed that he saw coming?
He may have, it's not clear yet, but he may have known that something was.
Yeah, Mrs. D says Tamara is asking way more questions about what happened than Wendi did. Yeah, the only time Wendi was asking questions was like, is he dead yet? Is he dead yet? Do we have that confirmed? Is someone talking to the hospital? Can I report back to main base that it's been done? Oh, did he call the police? Did he call the police? Is he alive? Is he conscious? Should I bring the boys to see him? Crazy bitch. You know, and just the difference in genuine behavior is staggering. This is what a real person looks like, and Wendi looks like a lying, psychopathic, plotting, scheming, stealing devil.
He wouldn't have known until it was basically, he wouldn't know until it was too late.
But it was instantaneous. He
Yeah,
lost consciousness instantly. He lost consciousness instantly.
Oh, absolutely.
And how General Isom just answered that question was not very convincing at all. Oh, yeah. Are you kidding? Straight away. Yep, no pain. When General Isom knows that Dan was sat in the car after Jim Geiger went there and had his head moving around and was groaning, you know. Oh, yeah. Are you kidding? Total lights out, instant. Let's hear that again.
He may have, it's not clear yet, but he may have known that something was, he wouldn't have known until it was basically, he wouldn't know until it was too late.
But it was instantaneous. He
Yeah,
lost consciousness instantly. He lost consciousness instantly.
Oh, absolutely.
So he probably didn't feel
it. I don't believe he suffered.
Okay.
No, he's just, that's the gentlemanly thing to do, right? Well, there's no reason to upset her and say, he was moving and groaning, and then he had 14 hours of agonizing pain while we were trying to let him die gently. That's not going to help the case, and it's just going to upset poor Tamara. And who would want to upset Tamara? Nobody.
You don't have to go back to the house if you don't feel like it.
Oh, I want to.
Okay. Let me be right. I'll be right back. Okay.
Isom should have given her a hug. He looks like a good hugger. Maybe that's his main job in the police department. He should be the victim advocate.
Oh, God.
Wow, that was great, guys. I really enjoyed that one. It's been, what? How many months? What month are we now? It's been 7 months since we last took a look at Tamara. And it was a very different video back then, a very different chat as well. We just had 3 people, or maybe a few more, but nothing like it is now. And it was a very different video, you know. And yeah, it was really good to get back and have a look at Tamara and to listen to what she has to say. Where's that video we did of her? Even the thumbnail, see the progression of our thumbnails, guys. We're getting better. We're getting better every day. There it is. And I quite like that one too, because she looks so pretty. But yeah. Good to see. So tomorrow, Saturday nights, what are we doing? We're looking at General Isom on the stand. Back to some courtroom footage. We've spent a little bit of time in the interrogation rooms lately, guys. Jeff Lacasse. Where's that Jeff Lacasse video? There you go. For all you guys that haven't seen it, you crazy kids, you're looking for something to do right now, we got part 1, part 2 right there on our channel page. And we've even got a little 30-minute special of Hot Mic Donna right there. See? Go and all check that out right now. Those of you that haven't seen it. Hey, it won't be long until we get to our 100th video, guys. 74 so far. How are those subscribers doing? 1.28K. Climbing every day, huh? Let's get a few more subscribers in before we close off, because we've got more content coming out. If you haven't clicked already, click that subscribe button and click that like button. Yeah, just have a quick look through this chat before we sign off. Yeah, Mrs. D, I wish the victim advocate would speak out as well. And I was wondering if she might be relevant in Donna Adelson's trial. Probably not, but I was thinking just because she could hear Donna's reaction when Wendi called her, it's probably not enough to call her as a witness. It might confuse the jury, but we'll see her for Wendi's trial. I should imagine. That's a game changer, yeah. Wasn't it, Wendi? Doe-eyed. Everyone thought that Donna was relieved to get caught, but I think it was Bundy who said no. They hate getting caught. Yeah, I think she'd prefer to be in Vietnam. Put it that way. No problem, Ryan. Yeah, this chat was huge. Can't wait to see the chat statistics. Very consistent number of viewers in the stream tonight as well, guys. Sometimes we go up and down. Today we've just been staying high. I thought Tamara Demko would be one for the books. Surely was. We'll check out those stats tomorrow. Yeah, mentor lawyer, mentor lawyer. Everyone loves a bit of mentor lawyer. Yeah, hi, Victoria. Or Victoria Girl. Hey, thanks so much, C. Malone. Donation to Isom Appreciation Night. Yeah, you know, I really want to underline that fact. I think he's great. I really like his vibe. And there's many cops that I just don't like their vibe. Yeah, we're at 93 likes. Let's get to 100, guys. That's more people than we've even got left in the stream. Let's get 7 more likes. Can we do it? Albert says, Adelsons don't know what love is. Donna and Harvey are so codependent, they are in each other's asshole. Well, thank you for that that depiction to stick in our minds as we close off for the evening. Thumbs up, Rabbit. Yeah, get those likes rolling in, guys, just before we get to the end of these comments. Use your common sense, y'all. Channeling Charlie's Georgia. Absolutely. I love his Georgia, actually. I think that's my favorite thing about him. It's a coincidence. Don't let the way they thought they would get away with it be the way they got away with it. If you think he's guilty, then vote guilty. Hilarious. I would just love to sit with Georgia at the end of a long day of law, kick back in the office and put on some Charlie Adelson tapes. You know, she and Sarah Dugan do that together all the time. Yeah, don't double tap. That'll unlike Victoria Girl. If you double, then you have to triple. I think we'll do it, guys. How are we doing now? Let's check. Let's double check. Refresh. Okay, we are at 96 likes, guys. Let's get 4 more. Let's go and have a look for some more comments. Yeah. Gwyneth from Georgia. Gwyneth from Georgia. Don't know. Don't know what that means, Bob. Adelsons are forest. Okay. Are you taught like Georgia, Leslie? You should do some sound bites. Great Charlie metrics. Okay, yeah, I could do better. I can be good at voices, but someone trashed my southern accent in the comments the other night. But you know, doing these shows, sometimes you hit it, sometimes you don't. But I have been meaning to go to some sort of linguistics website and really start reviewing proper vowel sounds of Tallahassee. You know, really get it down. Really get it down. So when I go to court for Wendi's trial, I can blend in and maybe get a one-on-one interview, head-to-head with Georgia Kappelman. How about that? If you think that's a good idea, folks, like the video, for God's sakes, for all our souls. Paltrow. Okay, yeah. Gwyneth Paltrow as Georgia in the movie. No, she'd spend too much time selling scented candles. Or what does she do now? I used to really like her, but seeing that Gwyneth Paltrow trial, it was like, what is going on here? Why are you kind of weird? What is this? But she was great in Talented Mr. Ripley. And has anybody seen Hard Eight with John C. Reilly and Gwyneth Paltrow? That's fantastic. And that old guy, I never remember his name. Sam Jackson's in it too, bit part. And Philip Seymour Hoffman, Hard Eight. Everybody check it out. Fantastic Vegas movie. One of those really good Vegas movies where the whole thing is Vegas. The soundtrack is fantastically Las Vegas. It's brilliant. Come on, somebody in the comments tell me you've seen Hard Eight. Hey, thanks so much, Mary Bartlett, for the super sticker. I never get to see what they are, though, because I'm in StreamYard. I got to go and see. I got to check Bartlett for the super sticker. I never get to... Now I hear myself. Hey, it's high-fiving lemon with the lime. Lemon and lime. Thanks so much, Mary Bartlett. Okay, one more check on the likes and then we'll sign off. Whatever it is. If it's 99, it's 99. It is 97. Oh, so close. But I think that'll do, guys. We've only got 74 people in the stream, so maybe everyone has liked the video and there's just no one left. Who's going to come now when we're signing off? Yeah, people keep thinking the judge is me. Rabbit, they say, hey, I thought you were the big black guy on your channel page. True Crime Metrics, the photo on your main page of Judge Everett is the judge looking at Rashbaum, who just popped up out of his chair but hasn't uttered objection yet, and everybody is waiting. Yeah, I remember that moment too, Rabbit. I think you're exactly right. Okay, thank you, everybody in the chat. You guys have been fantastic tonight. I think we've had well over 1,000 chat events. I think that really helps the algorithm. You know, the more the merrier. I think YouTube are looking at True Crime Metrics and thinking, hey, who is this guy? What is he doing? We like it. So that's fantastic. You know, the more the merrier. The more the merrier. Anyway. It's 2:23 in the morning, and I'm wide awake because you get kind of a buzz doing this, you know. So we're going to listen to some whale sounds, maybe some running waterfall, or all the echoes of the Amazonian rainforest. Try and get some tranquility in here. You know what I'm saying? All right. We'll see you all tomorrow, guys. I'll let you know on the social networks, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Discord, what time we're going live. Should be around the same time, 6 o'clock, 6:30 Eastern. Standard procedure, standard metrics procedure. I don't think we're going to do a daytime special today, guys. That was a bit much to take on, especially with all the ground events we've got going on here at the moment. Okay, end of show. Goodbye. Good night. Love you all. Thank you.